Hello and good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. I am one of your hosts because we have three here. I'm Mr. BoomStick XL, and we have an outstanding show for you here today. Let's welcome in again, we want to jump right into this. So we're going to welcome in the elusive gamer, Jamie Moran. How you feeling, brother? Welcome back.
Hey man, happy to be here playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is damn good.
So much fun, dude. Just so much fun.
You know, I've been talking about that game nonstop, and the best news since like the last show we had, like Rebirth has got announced to come to Xbox in June.
Yes.
So like less than 6 months after the remake, which is great. Like it's really nice to play a game you're loving, and then you find out the sequel is coming out 6 months later, even less than 6 months, and part 3 is like a year away, pretty much. I'm in a good mood. Let's talk about gaming.
Yeah, indeed. Absolutely. And let's welcome back my brother from Chi-Town. I don't know how cold it is. It's not as cold today. I think it's like maybe like 20 something degrees here rather than it was like 8 degrees on Sunday. How you feeling there, Infinite Umbra?
Now is the winter of our discontent. No, it's like 44 degrees here in Chicago.
Okay. All right. Not bad.
Like actually 46 now that it just updated. It's 46 degrees and it feels like 42. It's actually nice out here right now.
That's actually normal weather for Chicago. It's actually we're supposed to be around the 40s. Yeah.
Yeah, this is early summer right here. Like no, it feels pretty good. It's good to be back, by the way. Good morning to everyone. I had been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Oh, nice. Okay, that game is very difficult, by the way.
It is part 1 is more challenging because of the combat is like very
methodical.
Yeah, and it's hard. It takes a minute for you to like click, but I think part 2 strikes a good balance with it. It's just a little more refined, and but man, I gotta say the story for it is solid, man. I'm really enjoying it. I got like 200 hours in this thing already.
Holy wow, good for you, man.
Yeah, I'm loving it, man. I gotta say, yeah, happy to be here with you guys today. What have you been playing, Boom? Actually,
I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. I've been playing a bunch of shmups. I'm playing this new Karate Survivor.
I got that.
It's fun, dude. It's
actually
really
learned off that from
challenging.
Yes. Yeah, he put me on that. Yeah, actually,
yes,
I like that one a lot. The other
day.
Yeah, then when you get to flip over the tables and stuff, I like that.
Yes, it's pretty
like
dope,
Jackie
man.
Chan simulator, basically.
Pretty much, yes. It is like a Jackie Chan movie on video games. Is really what it comes down to.
Pretty much, yep.
I'm very much enjoying it, but yeah, no, I've been having fun with Final Fantasy VII. I finally got into the new season 2 for Call of Duty Black Ops 7. I'm enjoying Black Ops 7. I'm just not enjoying it as much as I did for 6. Like 6, I could not wait for the next season. So far, I'm okay with it. You know, I found a couple of new guns I'm trying to work with. So they're really low ranked, so they're not doing as much damage as some of my other ones. But like I said, I'm still having fun with it. I see where a lot of people have a bit of discontent for Black Ops 7 and why it didn't do as well as 6, and why it was beaten handily by Battlefield 6. Because as someone had really poured hundreds and hundreds of hours into 6, like I said, 6 is my favorite Call of Duty of all time for its multiplayer. I was expecting them to really bring it up and step it up, so to speak, for 7. And 7 was a bit of a down. They kind of took a couple of steps back. But again, it's solid multiplayer. It's just that they have a lot of things about like the gadgets and stuff that I don't like, as opposed to 6. But it's just personal preference. But
little hit or miss for you though, huh?
Yeah, it's not terrible. It's better than good. It's just not great. It's kind of somewhere in the middle between good and great, and it's more closer to good. If that makes any sense to the chat.
It's good.
There you go. That's right. Add a T on the back end of that. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, we have an absolutely rock solid show for you today. And we're going to open up with what I believe to be a very credible rumor that has been swirling, and I want to kind of take a few minutes to put everything together, because it'll make a lot of sense once I do that, right? So I'm pulling up a story from our good friends over at purexbox.com. This is written by Fraser Gilbert. You heard me mention his name before. Phenomenal journalist, in my opinion. And this was posted on Monday, January 26th. Now, this story is a little old, but you got to walk with me on this, folks, because I'm going to start here, but I'm going to end with the hot off the presses rumor, which I think is incredibly credible. Okay. So Fraser, in this particular article, Jamie Moran, says rumor, Xbox might be planning a second developer direct showcase for 2026. Now, a lot of us thought that they may bookend the year, have it closer to the holiday when you have some other titles that are coming out. And well, let me just walk this back and say, does anybody remember last week where a lot of PlayStation podcasters and content creators, not the trolls, but just the content creators, were talking and were very excited at the rumor that popped up last week that Starfield would be releasing on PlayStation 5 in April? Okay, now again, walk with me on this, folks. This is not the first time that we heard the April date. As a matter of fact, we heard April at the end of last year. Now, I believe that story was posted by several of the big sites, but I recall Pure Xbox actually doing a story, which I don't have that in front of me. Really didn't go looking for it. But again, I'll get to the hot off the presses rumor. Now, of course, it makes sense. We know that it is going to be a big release for Bethesda, and Starfield will be getting, at some point this year, its coming back out party, if you will. It's going to be Starfield 2.0. Now, what's in this 2.0? Well, we're not exactly sure, but now this is where we get into the rumor. Okay, now what I have in front of me is some show notes that I wrote, and this is what popped up yesterday. I saw a couple of people tweet it. I don't know where this rumor originated from. I went looking and I could not find it. So not only did I write my own show notes, I also did an AI search, and I'm going to read to you what the AI search had to say. Now, again, folks, this is a rumor. Take it with an absolute ginormous grain of salt. But there is a starting place for this, because there was a rumor that happened right after the first direct of this year that there would be a second one. Well, here's what the AI response when I asked specifically about a potential Starfield direct. Check this out. Rumors suggest a potential Xbox developer direct in March of 2026, which may highlight a major Starfield 2.0 update and other Xbox Game Studios titles. This 2.0 update is rumored to overhaul core mechanics, such as reducing loading screens and improving space travel along a possible PlayStation 5 port. Now, here are the key details regarding these rumors, ladies and gentlemen. Starfield 2.0, which they're calling the, quote, revamp. The update is rumored to address key complaints, aiming for a, quote, Cyberpunk 2.0 style revival. It's reportedly includes improvements to exploration and potentially a release on PlayStation 5, which could be announced soon. Now, the developer direct timing. While the January 2026 show has already occurred, some rumors suggest a follow-up event in March of 2026 to showcase this upcoming content. Other potential content that might be added to this. The event could also cover updates for other Xbox studios, though specific titles beyond Starfield are not confirmed in the early rumors. It's important to treat these claims as unofficial rumors, as Bethesda and Xbox have not officially confirmed a March Direct or, for that matter, a 2.0 version for Starfield, but we know that that is in the works. So, Jamie, what I want to go with is we were talking in the green room, and my thought and theory was if the April date is real for PlayStation, if it is real for PlayStation 5, I actually don't think that it's going to do the game any kind of service whatsoever if this comes out like a wet fart and there's no advertising for it. I actually think it'd be a mistake. Now, I actually, in my heart of hearts, believe, speaking to a lot of PlayStation gamers that I know that are not trolls, that are not toxic MFs, that are just gamers who play on PlayStation. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of my friends that I know that are not in, the trenches of console war, BS, are really excited that this game is finally, after 3 years, coming to PlayStation. Now, again, the Direct is a rumor, but that rumor has some credibility on the back end of it. If you go back to the pure Xbox story, the rumor of an additional or potential several Xbox game direct, game developer directs makes sense because they have a lot to show this year. This is one of them, folks, and I don't necessarily know if they would do a straight up Starfield only direct, but if this 2.0 version is as big an update for it as, let's say, for instance, Cyberpunk was, they're going to need to take the time to show off what they're doing, how this is different, how they improved it. They're going to need Todd Howard to come out, and they're going to need to speak to team members to explain why they needed to do this 2.0 update. But even beyond that, would be an opportunity to sell this to the PlayStation players that will be tuning in to potentially learn when this game would come to that platform. And they could do it. It doesn't have to be a full 50-minute thing. It could be 30 minutes for all we know. But I think that you could technically kill two birds with one stone. You can do your direct. You can show off exactly what 2.0 is going to be. You can show off what is rumored to be the next DLC update, the follow-up to the original, which a lot of people didn't like. We're all waiting for their update on where else the story is going to take us. And then on the back end of that, you can say, hey, listen, this is everything you saw here today will be released on this date in April. And we also want to, welcome in all of our PlayStation players because it's coming to PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro on the same day. This would be a really big get for Bethesda. It'd be a really big deal for Xbox Game Studios because it would be another game that I think would sell incredibly well. But it would also be, they would have the stage set to show off the new stuff, the new DLC, and sell the game to PS5. I want to get your thoughts, man.
We were talking before the show went live that, will I be allowed to talk about Starfield now in a positive way?
How dare you,
Every single
sir?
post I've ever made about this game, even before the release, the replies have been, oh my God, they've been awful, toxic, just people being the worst. And it's like, it's all because it's just, I'm enjoying a sci-fi game. That's all. If it does release on PlayStation, I think that's the small part of the news. I think that's like a footnote, right? Because another platform, cool. That doesn't do me any favors. The 2.0 thing is the big thing because, do you know what's funny? Back with Fallout 3, we had 5 expansions in 9 months, right? And now for these games, we get 1 expansion every couple of years. Game development in 2026.
There you go.
There's so much they can add. The way they ended the second expansion, the way they ended the first game. Like, there's so many different things they can add. Like, when you do New Game Plus, and I still won't spoil it for other people. Like, I was so annoyed the fact I couldn't take all of my ammo. My heart's still broken. But there's so much they can add. And when people talk about the Cyberpunk 2.0 style update for it, Cyberpunk, a little bit of a tangent. Cyberpunk has this weird Mandela effect where people just assume that's when the game was fixed. Cyberpunk 2077 was fixed a week before Elden Ring launched, right? Nobody paid attention to it because Elden Ring took over everything. And Elden Ring was the news for about 9 months. Cyberpunk started getting its life back when the anime came out on Netflix. And the game was fixed at that point and had its next-gen update. It had a bunch of different fixes and features added. In 2023, a year later, they put out 2.0, which just added a bunch of new features, and then they put Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty out, which was basically a whole new relaunch for the game. But that whole time, I was grinding my teeth thinking, the game's been fixed for you. What are people talking about? But with Starfield launched in a great shape, right? You know, in the past, Bethesda RPGs have been known to be a wee bit buggy. But Starfield, at least on my end, it was basically fine. I think I had one bug with a door where I just had to reload the save. But there's just, when it comes to that game, people just want more features added, you know, quality of life stuff. People talk about space exploration. There's just more things they can add, you know, more dynamic things they can like. One of the coolest things in Starfield, and it's something most people may not even find, it's like you can find this starship that's derelict and it has a malfunction and gravity, and you have to work your way through this starship fighting pirates, and there's a hidden vault inside. You can turn the gravity back on or leave it malfunction, and it's just like such a cool moment in the game, and it's like a random thing that most people won't even find. It's like, I think that's the type of thing that made Starfield special, and that's the type of thing people want more of. And also the handcrafted stuff, right? Having procedural generated planets, all that stuff, it's nice and cool. But the best parts of Starfield are the handcrafted moments. They proved that with the last expansion. That basically the whole planet was handcrafted. The base, everything, the city. And I think people want more of that. Starfield is a brilliant game that just doesn't get the praise it deserves. Like, it's a really good sci-fi RPG, Bethesda RPG, and people just want more of it, you know? We used to get RPGs like from Bethesda all the time with multiple expansions. And now we have years in between expansions, and I can see why that would annoy people. The game development is like I'm not a game developer. I'm not going to go into detail thinking like why I'm thinking it's taking this long, but to go from Fallout 3 with 5 expansions in 9 months to 2 expansions in 4 years, like that seems a bit much. Oh, well, 2 expansions in 3 years, but it's a bit much. And when it comes to the direct thing, you know, Microsoft have so many different games in development and a lot of different studios that have multiple games in development that they can afford to do a different direct. Now, would they have a direct that close to their summer showcase? It really depends on if they really need to get Starfield stuff out before the summer show.
Yes.
And I've seen in chat a few times, like, what about state of play? I think if you have something like your own direct, you wouldn't really have it at a state of play.
I agree.
Like they're probably gonna have, like, you know, Wolverine and other games that I know Devil May Cry 6 is rumored. But I think like Starfield's like a big enough game that you'd have it on your own showcase. Like, why wouldn't you? I know in the past, I think maybe once or twice, there's been one of like the other games by Microsoft at the show, like Flight Simulator, I think was on a state of play. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that if you're Microsoft, you have it at your own direct. They have enough different games in development to have multiple directs. It's all about timing. And I think that's something that Microsoft has to work on this year. It's like they have a bunch of games coming. They have a bunch of games to announce. They just have to get to announcing them at the right time because, look, the summer showcase, early June. And after June, we have no showcase till January again. Like, they really need to get something out in the second half of the year. So we'll see what's going to happen. But I do think that if you're Microsoft, you're going to have it announced at your own sort of direct style event.
Yeah, I agree with you. No, shout out to Paris Lily in the chat who says the next Xbox Developer Direct is Thursday during the PlayStation State of Play because a dead platform can't have their own showcase anymore. Xbox 2001 to 2026. Rest in peace. How dare you come in here and cause trouble, Paris Lily?
He's been
We appreciate
compromised.
appreciate you being here, Paris. Look, I think you're onto something. Me personally, Umbra, I think Starfield is too big of a game, and I'm not being disrespectful, folks. I listen. This is not a. I don't do the console war thing. You know that. Occasionally I'll TTS it, but very rarely I do. Starfield, its 2.0 update, and the fact that it would be coming out on PlayStation 5 is, and again, I'm not being disrespectful, too big of an announcement for a state of play. I'm sorry. I don't think that would work well. And here's why, Umbra. Controlled messaging cannot be handled or handed to PlayStation to do. If this rumor is true, and it's starting to circulate on the socials that there might actually be a developer direct in March, and that developer direct might actually be a Starfield direct to, of course, show off 2.0, show us what's happening with the DLC that's expected later this year, the new expansion, and potentially announce it coming out in April. That was rumored, that popped up last week for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro. It doesn't have to be 50 minutes. It doesn't have to be 45 minutes. It could be 25 minutes to half an hour, because maybe if they want to just keep it tight and just it be a direct, just nothing on, nothing else, no shadow drops, just an actual Starfield direct, I think actually plays to its strength. It's a big game. It's having its own re-release, and some people in the chat will agree, some people won't. I think it's going to be as big as Cyberpunk 2.0 based on some of the things that I have heard, right? Some of the things that are out there, you got to take everything with a grain of salt until we actually see it, but they are going to make massive improvements. Now, is it going to be as big as Cyberpunk? Well, that's going to be, that we'll determine that when it comes out. But we also have to learn, Umbra, about the expansion that's going to give us more places, another story, more, more planets to discover, more, aliens to shoot. And they have to talk about a potential PlayStation 5 version. This is an opportunity to use this as a marketing push, which I believe this is going to sell like gangbusters on PlayStation 5. I want to get your thoughts on this, man.
We'll see. By the way, why is it our first thought when we see new alien life is to shoot it? Like, well, we know what we got to do with that, don't we? Fill it full of lead.
I'm not saying I would shoot it. I'm a gentleman when I travel the star system
immediately, especially if it looks like it might eat people. Like, oh, you look like people eatable. I don't know. You look like you digest people. So
I don't know if I can trust you with those tentacles.
Right. Yeah.
Boys.
I almost made a terrible joke and I'm stopping myself right now. Let me stop myself. If we're talking about as far as what they could do for 2.0, I got a few thoughts. I don't know how big the game will be for a 2.0 launch. I really don't. It landing on PlayStation, I'm not sure how many PlayStation gamers may not have touched it yet or given it a chance. But I'm hoping it does well. I don't know if it's going to land quite like Cyberpunk 2027 did with its DLC or expansion or whatever for Phantom, not Phantom, but yeah, I said it right. Phantom, is it Liberty?
Yes.
So I'm not sure how that will land for that. Yeah, BT. Anyway, I'm not sure how to land as far as that goes, but I'm hoping that it lands well. And what I would hope for them to do to kind of, like a lot of the stuff that I would hope for is stuff that I want the franchise to expand on in the sequel, right? So a lot of it's going to be problematic because of that too. So some of the things I would say that I would want is like to have a more seamlessness, if you would, or seamless, I guess, exploration. So when we leave, you know how the No Man's Sky how you can travel in and out of planets and stuff like that. I know that a lot of people have also always said that, like, I wish you could travel in and have less loading. For instance, with Starfield, I can understand the loading part. I've never really cared too much about traveling from the planet you're on to space, driving out to it, but I can see the I guess the quirk of it. I think that will get tired sooner than later, personally. Like, oh, I gotta keep flying out and into the planet I'm going into, whatever. I feel like people would get tired of that. So it doesn't really bother me, but I can see that being a thing because I've heard players talk about that before. So to directly fly out of planets to orbit and such and back or whatever if you want it, right? Um, Travel from the planet or the space you're in, I guess the galaxy, the system you're in, into other systems. Driving there or flying, piloting there, should I say, be instead of like checking the map and checking some interplanetary, you know, marker, and then okay, I'm gonna go here. Uh, but again, I feel like it could lead to a bit of tediousness, right? Um, and then I would go to some other things that need to, I feel that could be added and such. And that was Jamie touched on it, and that's the handcrafted nature of things. To me, one of my complaints for Starfield was that the whole I'm going to say this personally, I've never been a big fan of procedurally generated like places. I
Okay,
know
that's fair.
Bethesda has done this for a long time. It's not like this is the first time they've ever done it with Starfield. They did it with Oblivion. Some of that was procedurally generated. They just handcrafted on top of it. I would hope that Bethesda would do more handcrafted as well. So I'm in a complete agreement with Jamie there. I think it makes things more unique, less of like, oh, I'm on a new planet with the exact same kind of layout and this barren nothingness. And is that another outpost that also looks the exact same inside? Like that's what I want them to fix. Correct that type of stuff. And they can,
Those are fair criticisms too.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if they're going to do that with this. You know, I'm not sure, but that's what I would want is for them to expand on the design for that. There was one particular mission, and I'm not sure how many people got to this in Starfield, where you have this time lapse. I'm sure you remember that one, and
Yes.
you have to help them out, and but depending on your choice, the people can be dead or they'll be alive, and there is this weird time kind of thing, displacement, if I could say, stuff like that. Just make unique missions and such centered around those places that you go into, and that can kind of alleviate the thought of things being samey. Again, I don't know how far they'll go into this type of stuff. I really don't. So some of this is kind of just wishful thinking for the franchise. uh One thing they could expand on, which is I think more reasonable and possible, I think, is two things in particular. One is the kind of like your own outpost creation, like a Fallout 4 head where you make your own stuff and people settlements and stuff come in there and for their needs and things like that. Maybe you can make actual settlements, because when they first proposed Starfield to us, I know you all remember they were showing like, oh, you can make these outposts to do trading, blah blah blah, which you
Yeah.
can, but it's very limited, and you only have like one person you can assign to manage that one spot or whatever, right? Maybe they can actually make it like an actual livable kind of system, where people are actually there and you have them assign tasks, do whatever, and people build on that. You don't even have to manage that part, but they build. You got maybe assign a I don't know, a mayor, if you will. Like, let's say this, that's the easiest way I could put it, an official who will oversee it automatically, and people go to that settlement to build and make new settlements and stuff like that on whatever star you're on or something, right? Things like that, or planet you're on, should I say? Shouldn't say star. But things like that. Like, they can probably add more of that. Another thing would be the shipbuilding. One of the parts I did enjoy a lot about Starfield is the shipbuilding. Just to read this from what Paris said, he said, "Pump the brakes on Starfield 2.0. It's not as ambitious as you might want or think it will be. In my opinion, lower expectations to some quality of life improvements." Yeah, Mr. Killjoy there. I had to
I mean,
read that
again,
from-
my glass is always half full, and I'm always going to shoot for the moon. If I'm disappointed, that's on me. So I never really get disappointed because I do like. Look, this is it again. Paris has connections. He knows what he's talking about. I don't know whether he's saying it as a a what about, and or he knows something and he really can't say. But for me personally, they need to do a few things. And those few things, I mean, again, Starfield was a mess. I mean, not Starfield, Cyberpunk was a mess when it came out. And it really did need this 2.0 revamp. I don't necessarily think that Starfield was that bad, to be honest with you. I think Starfield was probably launched at one of the better launches for a Bethesda game ever. I mean, the game did get a year delay, and it would have launched kind of so. That's why it was delayed a year, right?
Yeah, I thought
But
it launched pretty well personally.
pretty
I
solid in my opinion. I didn't have really that
remember
many
any
bugs.
bugs or anything like that. I mean, even to be fair though, with me, I didn't have crazy bugs with Cyberpunk either. I had that on the Xbox One X, and I had like one like weird bug, but it wasn't a game breaking or anything. So I was lucky. I know a lot of people had terrible troubles, but I was fortunate with that one. But that aside, he says, "I know nothing. My opinion is just based off with
Yeah, he just off a few whispers. Yeah, he just
Yeah.
so he's
That means he knows everything and he's being coy." No, but but yeah, man, I would love the shipbuilding to be more robust. And I've said this before, where I really enjoyed the shipbuilding aspect, but it is very Lego-y, if that makes sense. And it's not until you get if you go to the PC experience where you can give your ship a more real, unique look by modding it and such like that. Whereas the standard version of it is very squared off and odd. Where you get on the PC and you can do these mods or have people that have ships pre-created that can look like really handcrafted ships. And I would want them to expand in that way to really give like the ships a more real, designed look. And they could expand a bit in that. Maybe like add I think one of the I think wants that the fans have said with that would be the interiors. They would want the interiors to be like not moddable, but like what's the word? Customizable is the word I'm going to use. They would want that to be customizable where you can change things up in there. I know they have it where you can pick like your own like a medical bay or whatever, or this is the crew area or whatever, but like they can really, I know, Mac, I know you can do it on the console with certain things, albeit disabling achievements, but I'm talking about you can go way beyond that on PC. I even modded mine briefly to put the Star Wars mods on it, and I had the Millennium Falcon, I had I forgot the name of that silver ship, the silver I forgot the name of it. I had that silver ship. I had a bunch of them I tried out, and I was like, "Oh, this is dope."
I saw the Boba Fett ship look really dope.
Slave One, right? Yeah,
Slave One, yes, yep.
So yeah, like they those are dope. Don't get me wrong. That's part of what I mean. Like you can go so far beyond on PC, and now that's the allowing mods does allow for a lot of that on console, which is dope too. And to be fair, moving into next gen, you won't have that issue anymore. But I'm just saying it would be cool for them to allow for more customization with the ships, in my opinion, be it interiors and stuff like that or whatever. I'm trying to think of anything else that they could do. I know one of those things too, where like people were saying outside of like the outpost situation was people to have like a what do they call that thing? Oh, like that big, like how you go into the space and you have those big what do they call those things? Like you can go shop for ships and stuff. I forgot the name of them. Like satellites, like a capital ship, basically. Big capital ship in space and things like that you can have like as this mother, I don't know, headquarters, if you will. like stuff like that. I know fans have wanted stuff like that too, and I've seen mods where you can actually pilot some of those ships out there, those big space stations. I'm not going to say ships; they're big space stations. And yeah, see, Colin Prime, exactly. Like they're big space stations, and so like I know people have wanted that too. I'm whatever on that. For me, for Starfield, for success going forward, just to say for what the future, what I would want. See how blocky that looks, for instance. But what I would want is more refined mission structure. I don't think that we needed like, oh, I need 1,000 planets to go to, or 100 planets. I would have been perfectly fine if you gave me 25, 50 planets to go to. Hell, not even 50 necessarily, 30 planets or something that are more handcrafted and full of actual stuff in them to do. That would have been perfectly fine with me. Hell, you can even give me less than that if it's more robust in terms of mission structure and full fulfillment of fullness of actual narrative and things like that. So like, and I would want them also to expand on the space battles. So I don't want us to be trapped in this kind of bubble of where we can fight, right? I want us to be able to move around, much like you would if you play like a game like Chorus. You all play Chorus, right? Well, Chorus, you get them to move around. Right? I want them to allow for that type of stuff. And I know I'm talking real ambitious talk, so I don't expect this for this one. But that's just saying what I would kind of want for the sequel. But I am interested in seeing what they have for 2.0, though. Really am. I don't know if it'll bring me back to it. I know there's like, I think there's like an achievement or two I have to get. I'm not sure, and I would be a dog for that achievement and probably go back for it. But I'm just saying, we'll see. I'm excited to see what they show. I'm just, kind of in line with Paris, where I'm not expecting anything to be like, "Ooh, look, he did this overhaul thing." I think it's going to be kind of, but we'll see. I don't know. They might try to go all out to bring in a new audience. We'll see.
Well, I mean, look, the way they're going to bring people back is with new content, right? And whatever the content that will be coming, we thought it was going to be, originally it was rumored to be called Starborn, right? I don't know if that's still the case. That was supposed to release last year, and we didn't hear nothing. They were completely radio silent. And what we heard was they were potentially working on this 2.0 version of it, right? How big it's going to be, only time will tell. But they would be releasing that 2.0 version to everyone that already owns Starfield, right? People both on Xbox and PC. They're going to be doing this update for, not only the players that they have already, and potentially launching a new DLC, a new expansion, but they're going to be welcoming a whole bunch of new customers. And I know that some people in the chat are tired of hearing that, but that's the reality. Starfield has been an Xbox exclusive now for 3 years. I think it's time for it to go everywhere else. And everywhere else, I don't think that's Nintendo Switch 2, but it's certainly PlayStation 5, and it's going to be a big seller there. So there would be really getting their ducks in order, and they would be releasing on a new platform and potentially trying to bring back an audience that left the game behind. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of people that are still playing this game and very much enjoying it. I beat it once. I started a second playthrough, and I kind of just fell off. I beat it. I got the ending I wanted. I was very, very happy with the hundreds of hours I put into it, and I was good. Now with the potential, I came back for the DLC that no one really liked. I didn't mind it, but being trapped on the one planet was a little, not what I think a lot of people wanted. Maybe this next expansion is more ambitious, right? It's more story driven, but it's more open, giving you the same feel as the original Starfield game. And then with potential, and again, this potential, life improvements for the game, quality of life improvements. But we will certainly see. Again, I think that this is a mega franchise. It was something we know for a fact that it took a decade more to bring this to fruition for Todd Howard, and he really loves this franchise, something he always wanted to do. It came out, I think it came out pretty damn well. And to just bring up something Jamie said earlier, I actually think not only will Starfield see a revival as a game in, a game being released on a new platform and updated and potentially a 2.0 version of it, but I think that you're going to see it finally get the respect that it should have gotten from onset being on PlayStation 5. And I know that's not an excuse, and I know there's maybe some people who are going to be like they don't agree with that or they want to throw the virtual tomatoes. But I said the same thing about Fable, for instance. When Fable releases this year and it's on everything, and it releases on everything at the same time, right? It's going to get better reviews because on PlayStation 5. I know that's not. I'm not making an excuse for the industry. I think that sucks. The game, if it's an Xbox exclusive, it should get reviewed, fairly. It just never does. So does Fable become a game, get into the game of the year conversation with Jeff Keighley's show because it's on PlayStation? Probably. And would Starfield finally get the respect that it deserved because it's on PlayStation 5 from games journalism? That's to be determined. We don't know. But I do agree with Jamie. I think that, people that talked about being excited for Starfield were shunned by PlayStation gamers because they didn't have it. And that's just the way it was. When it finally comes out, we'll see what happens. But let me catch up on Super Chats, gentlemen. And we got another big story to get into, and it's surrounding some big news, thanks to Clobriel and Playground Games, about Forza Horizon 6, which will be out in a couple of months. Let me catch up on Super Chats here, folks. We got quite a few of them. We have Brett Bingham dropping not one, but two $5 Super Chats. The first one, he says, Starfield 2.0 update better have blood, gore, and dismemberment. I want to see it floating in 0G. Yeah, that would be kind of dope. I mean, it's a little bit morbid to say that you want to see body parts flowing, but if you're cutting people up with lasers, I don't want to see them turn into, like particles. I want to see like floating arms in space. That would be kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. His second $5 Super Chat says, Preston Garvey in Starfield confirmed another settlement needs your help. Oh my goodness. We'll see. I am hoping for a robust expansion. Being that it's been, it will be officially 2 years, but since the last one, I really hope we get a robust, expansion, giving us maybe new enemy types, maybe a new ending of the, a continuation of the ending. Because again, there's a lot of different endings. If you've played, I'm not going to ruin it for anybody, but there are some really wild, new game pluses that you start out, and it is very different from your original starting point. But I'm very excited to see what they do with this franchise. I think that it is a major franchise for Xbox Game Studios and Bethesda, and I think them owning the IP. Look, let me just say this, and this is not console war rhetoric, folks. This is the truth. There's a reason PlayStation tried to lock down Starfield as a permanent, not as a timed, as a permanent exclusive. And well, at that point, Xbox Microsoft just bought the building. They wanted to take the cow, and Microsoft bought the farm. And that's confirmed. They wanted to lock this down as a PlayStation exclusive forever, and that's when Microsoft came in and just bought Bethesda. Too bad for PlayStation. Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $2 Super Chat. He says, I want to build an outpost that makes money and you can defend it. I mean, you know what, brother? I love the fact that you want to do that. I want no part of anything with base building. I don't want to do any of it. If I could buy something that's done already, let me buy it. I just, that's fine. I don't want to make anything. I hate it. I absolutely hated the base building in Fallout 4. I did it literally to get an achievement. I literally put a turret in the middle of a bunch of burnt down buildings and called it my settlement and never came back to it.
I did that as well.
Yeah, I just wanted the achievement. I didn't do anything. I built a couple of ships. I'm gonna be honest with you. It wasn't fun. It was a bit of a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. I hope that they revamp building ships and making it easier. I thought it was a little bit too boring and too difficult for me. And their base building, I tried. I tried to do like this conveyor belt that was making like resources. I spent like 3 hours, and I said, I'll never get that. I'll never get those 3 hours back of my life that I threw away, and I never went back to it. So yeah, I'm not a base building kind of a guy, but if you are, awesome. It's me, the broke boy, drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, did anyone read that effing disingenuous article from Windows Central, not Jez, talking about the Xbox ROG Ally is experiencing high repair volume? Yeah, you know what? I started to read it, and I just thought it was rubbish. I'm going to be honest with you. Listen, Windows Central isn't perfect. They do stupid things, and that was one of them. I know that was for the UK. I haven't had a problem with my ROG Ally. As a matter of fact, I have not read any real reports of anyone having like problems or having problems with high return rates on these things. I haven't heard that. Maybe it's out there and maybe I missed it, but I haven't read any of it. I read a lot of news. House Flan, who's been a channel member for 30 months. So salute to you, brother. Thank you so much for the incredible generosity. He says, boom, you have to give Cyberpunk a chance, in my opinion. Starfield doesn't compare to it. So well written. You actually care about the companion characters. Listen, I put about 10 hours into Starfield, and into Cyberpunk, and I very much enjoyed it. I don't know why I didn't go back. It's not that I wasn't having fun with it. I was actually really enjoying it. And now that it has the 2.0 version of it, I probably should just restart it from the beginning. And I actually might do that. It's a big game. It's going to take a lot of my time, which is something I don't really have. And there's so many games coming out. But I might take you up on that advice and start it over again, literally from scratch with all of the 2.0 goodness, and give it a go. Because I tried The Witcher, and I tried The Witcher many, many times. I just could not get into it, though I did like Cyberpunk. So I'll take you up on that offer, brother. I'm gonna give it the old college effort, as the kids like to say. But gentlemen, we got to get into this story, and this comes away of now. This is not a rumor, folks. This is not a rumor. This is not a suggestion. This information literally comes the way of Playground Games, and thanks to Clobriel, one of the best on Twitter when it comes to posting Xbox news. We have a summary that gives the 10 new features coming to Forza Horizon 6. And look, let me just say this. I know that Call of Duty is going to be hitting its mark once again. At least that's my belief. So when Modern Warfare 4 comes out, and it's as good as I pray to the gaming gods that it is, it's probably going to be one of the best-selling games of the year. Now, I didn't say the best-selling game of the year. That title is easily going to go to Grand Theft Auto 6. And from the financials, or the quarterly financials that happened last week, Rockstar is pretty damn, proud of where the game is, and they are steadfast in their opinion that it's going to hit the November 19th date. So it is probably, like I've said this before, and I'll say it again, it's going to break every conceivable entertainment record known to mankind, whether that be ticket sales or game sales or money made in a single day. You name it, it's going to break every record. So it's probably going to have the title of best-selling game of 2026. This is not a suggestion. And I'm telling you that's what's going to happen if it hits in November. But that does not take away from the fact that I believe, Infinite Umbra and Jamie Moran, that Forza Horizon 6 is going to be one of the best-selling games on PC, on Xbox, and by the end of the year on PlayStation 5. It is going to be, in my opinion, from what we've seen, one of the best in the series. They are going to Japan, something that all of us have been hoping and praying to the gaming gods to, and it finally has come to fruition. Well, I have the summary of the 10 things that are coming. These features are coming to Forza Horizon 6. I'm going to read them verbatim, and then we'll bring Jamie and Infinite Umbra in here to get their thoughts on this big game. So this comes away directly from Playground Games, and once again, shouting out Cloreal for putting this together. You can go find it on the Forza.net/news. I already added the link to the show notes. If you want to go and check it out yourself, you can go do that. But check this out. Number 1, famous landscapes of Japan, including Tokyo City, Shibuya Crossing, Ginkgo Avenue, and the Tokyo Tower. Iconic mountain passes like Mount Haruna and Bandai Azuma. These are iconic places that you're going to be able to drive your car through, and I freaking love it. More dramatic seasons than Mexico. Snow always available in mountainous alpine regions. And I really do think one of the things that I love about Forza is how they add weather, and how that weather literally changes every race you're in. Whether it be rain, whether it be snow, whether it be dust storms, I think they do it the best. Well, number 3, new event type, something called Horizon Rush. Now, I'm not sure what that is, but I'm sure at some point or another, they're going to tell us. Number 4, shared open world without separate matchmaking, including time attack circuits, car meets, and drag meets, which is dope. Number 5, customable garages and multiplayer event labs, which the multiplayer event labs is, I think they had it in the last one, and I can't wait to see what the community comes up with. Number 6, rare aftermarket cars will be available. Number 7, they're adding car proximity radar. So I guess that is when something gets too close to you, something's going to go off in your ride, which is dope, so you don't crash into them. Number 8, update car engine and environment sounds. So again, you heard it in the trailer. The car engines sound great. They always really have. But the environment sounds, I'm not sure exactly what that means. I mean, like birds chirping or waterfalls or rocks falling, maybe. But that sounds dope. Number 9, updated Forza Aero, paint liveries on windows, new rims, cosmetic tire wear. Which, look, to me, it's an arcade racer. All those things are awesome, but some of the stuff is not really gonna, hit with me, like the cosmetic tire wear. Like that, I love the fact that it's in there, but it's not gonna do anything for me. Maybe it'll do something for you. And lastly, number 10, updated steering animations with up to 440 degrees of wheel rotation. Look, May cannot get here quick enough, in my opinion. I think it is going to be the best in the series. And why I think that is, if you go back to, listening to some of the team during their interview, speaking about specifically, guys, Forza Horizon 5, they said that game was hampered because everyone was working from home. And that they had so many more ambitious plans they wanted to do with 5. And I think 5 is an absolute masterclass in racing. It's probably one of the best racers in the business today. And they consider that hampered because of the pandemic, because everybody was stuck at home. That to me is bananas. So with the team back in the studio and then working on this for as long as they have been working on this, Umbra and Jamie, I think that this is going to be something special. Let's go to Jamie Moran. Let's get your thoughts on the 10 new features confirmed in this new summary by Playground Games.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like it could be their best game. Yes, every time they come out with the brand new Forza Horizon game, they try to add some like big new feature. Forza Horizon 4, they added the dynamic weather. Sorry to say, seasonal events, and that really was a game changer. It completely changed not how the world looked, but how it played. But I feel like with this one, they really lean into Japanese car culture. and they've leaned into car culture of other countries before, but it looks like they're really going deep with this one. And like you said, with Forza Horizon 5, like that game was basically made while they were all stuck in the house.
Yep.
The fact that they made that game during the pandemic is crazy to me, because like Playground Games is a British studio, right? All of our offices were shut during those lockdowns, right? Depending on where you lived, we basically had 4 lockdowns. The longest one was 5 months long. you know, so I mean, the fact they got that out, mind blown. So this one, I can only imagine what it's going to be like. It sounds like they've spent a lot of time to just try and flesh out the world and the car features. Because in the past, like Forza Horizon's always been top notch when it comes to its car designs, detail, and all that. But it looks like they're really going to spend that extra time, or they have spent that extra time, and just trying to make it seem more realistic. And to me, I know people say this about every Forza game or every Forza Horizon game, but I feel like it really could be their best game yet. Really lean into visual fidelity, world building, because Forza Horizon is great at world building. In my opinion, I still think Forza Horizon 3 had the best soundtrack in how it was integrated with the world. It wasn't really mentioned here, but I can only imagine what the Japanese radio is going to be like. Probably going to get some J-pop in there. What can I say? I'm excited. The fact that we're getting a Forza game, by the way, in May, crazy. But yeah, I can't wait for this. I'm keeping it brief because I can barely breathe. But yeah, Playground Games, like they have to be the best car studio on the planet, right?
Absolutely, dude.
Forza Horizon was, how should I put it? It was such like an arcade spin-off from Motorsport back in the day.
Yes.
And now Forza Horizon is the Forza brand, right? Completely switched to how it was over a decade ago, right? And the thing is, Forza Horizon's kind of accessible to everyone. You don't have to know diddly squat about cars, and you can still have fun. Yeah, there's people that play Forza Horizon and just take screenshots. That's just what they do, and they like it. Hell, like most of the time I put into Forza Horizon isn't even a racing around. Right? I just like to drive around in those games.
Literally, that's what I'm doing right now. Like I'm finding all of these pinatas that are cars and just crashing into them to get the points.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing about these Horizon games. You can play these games however you want, and I think that's what's going to make this one set in Japan feel like, really special, because they could just do all sorts with it. We saw the tease at the end of the announcement trailer where it looked kind of like a Gundam. I could only imagine.
Brother, that's a Gundam. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it looked like a Gundam. I know we had Gundam experts on Twitter say it wasn't, but come on. Really? Are we saying that wasn't a Gundam? Come on.
I didn't even see that. I love that. Gundam experts say no.
Yeah. Oh, good. I just shook my head.
I love it.
But like, considering we had like the Lego expansions, the Hot Wheels expansions, I could only imagine what they're gonna do. My hope is that we're gonna see some like crazy anime Ghost in the Shell stuff in this.
Oh, dude, that would be so freaking cool, man.
I mean, hell, they could. I know they probably won't do this because of nudity, but like Attack on Titan would be cool. They could do anything, and I think that's one of the best things about Forza Horizon. It just opens up the game and the genre to so many different possibilities. Whereas like Forza Motorsport, beautiful game, but like it is a focused track racer, and that's all it needs to be. But Forza Horizon, it's just so much more.
It's everything I could want in a racer. I mean, you've heard me tell the story before, so I'm gonna tell it again. For me personally, as someone that loves arcade racers, I'm talking going all the way back to the Nathan's arcade days where I'd have to pay $2 to play Sega GT. Anybody remembers that? That machine was dope. But for arcade racing at home, from my top 5 will certainly be different than yours. One of my favorites of all time is Need for Speed Most Wanted. That was a launch title on the Xbox 360, right? MotorStorm on the PlayStation 3, one of my absolute favorites. I freaking loved MotorStorm. My God, I would pay for a remake. I don't care if I paid $70. I know you're probably throwing the virtual tomatoes. pay for that in a second. It's one of my favorite racers. Burnout 3, another like super classic, incredible arcade racer. But for me, top tier, tip of spear, as I like to say, Forza Horizon 5. It's still one of my favorites. It's so well done, and looks like 6 is going to be even better. Umbra, let's bring you in, man. The one thing that jumps off the page, I think, when you start talking about Forza, especially these Forza Horizon, is when they go to a particular region or location, like they've gone to Europe, they've they were in Mexico, now they're going to Japan. They always take their time and deliver stunning vistas that you are driving through. And like I think Jamie's onto something. There are a lot of people that do play this game for driving. Of course, there's people like me that jump off cliffs and rewind and flip, or trying to flip all over the place trying to get signs, which is an achievement, by the way. But what they have already said they're going to do, the locations you're going to be able to go, man. It sounds like it might actually be the best looking one ever. Let's get your thoughts on the 10 listed things coming to Forza Horizon 6.
I gotta say, that was real brave of you to go on such a long, extended spree before you got to me, because I could have been in La La Land right now.
I was wondering if we were going to get you in La La Land, but you sounded like you were ready to rock and roll today, so I took a chance.
Yeah. Now I was ready to rock. I could have been, ready to roll right here. I am like, wow, I'm surprised. I'm like, you have such faith in me that I do not have. Just on the 10 things though. The landscapes, I'm actually looking forward to that too. Now I couldn't name any of these specific things, like, oh, that's Shibuya Crossing. Now I might notice it if I see it, like, oh yeah, I remember that in this movie I've seen, or in this anime, or in this other game that featured it, right? I'm gonna notice it, but I won't know, oh, that's Shibuya. Oh, that's Shibuya. That's Ginku Avenue. I'm not going to probably not going to notice.
I probably wouldn't know that either until I actually see it myself, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that they're making mention of it, those are pretty big tourist spots, and the fact that they're getting into the game, that's a big deal, dude.
Yeah, for sure, and that's cool. I'm glad they're going that route with it, because I think that matters. I think landscapes or famous landscapes matter when you add that into a game. Like if they came to, Chicago and just went to the suburbs, that would defeat the purpose, right? So you want to have something that calls into the distinctiveness of what that area is. And obviously you're going to see the mountain in the background. What is that? Mount Fuji, whatever, or Mount, as he put it here, Mount Haruna. So, yeah, stuff like that is cool. I'm interested in the whole idea of the more dramatic seasons. Obviously, Mexico is limited in some ways. Snow being here is going to be interesting. I do wonder if we'll be able to go travel as far as the mountain and actually get on it and drive on it without it. To borrow a word from one of our hooved hooligans, if it will be volcanoing while we travel. I don't know if it'll be volcanoing once we go to Mount.
Oh my God,
Mount Haruna. So that'll be interesting to see. This event type, the Horizon Rush. I don't know enough about it. I mean, it's just showing that they have a lot of different modes that you can go to with the. I forgot what did they call that thing in 5, where you can customize your own stuff. I forgot the name of it, but they had enough of like game types in there you can create from, like I saw a lot of fans make.
I think I have the listing here of exactly what it was that they said that it is. It's the multiplayer event labs.
So that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. The event labs were races that other people in the community created, and that you could run through them and you could rate them.
Okay, so Fuzzy, what's up, Fuzzy? He says blueprints. So the is Rush technically that then, or is it some new type of thing that's different altogether? It says event type, so it must not be. It's different. So I want to see more about that, see what that's about. Shared open world, it says, with the without separate matchmaking, including time attack circuits and car meets and drag meets. That's cool too. You know, I do like to stunt and show off, and I am one of those people who, much like I'm an achievement thought, I do like grabbing great imagery in games too. I know, like, Hargeet is like, oh, why do you need? Why do you want to do that? I don't want to take pictures. I'm like, Hargeet, you don't want to take pictures of enjoyment of what you did in the game? No, I don't. I just play the game again.
He doesn't care, brother.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Yeah, you hear my Hargeet laugh, right? That's the Hargeet chuckle, I call it. He's But yeah, I love that though, man. I'm actually a big fan of taking like great imagery of like the landscape and of the world, and you're like getting some cool image of your character. I love that type of stuff. So I would love to. And actually, in past games, I did like have us meet up and, hey, let's take a picture next to each other. Yay, we did it. Okay. But I don't know, I'm a mental case, but I did like that.
Listen, dude, if you race it with your friends, dude, and this is what I love about what they're doing, and it wasn't mentioned because it was already mentioned, is that they're going to be doing car meets where you can actually meet up and show off your ride and potentially buy other people's stuff, that sounds dope to me.
Yeah, that's dope. Did they confirm anything about like if you're gonna have like pink slip races or things like that?
Oh, dude, I don't know. That sounds crazy dope. I would never do that personally because I'd be mad AF if I lost my ride.
I know damn well you didn't just take my McLaren F1 from me. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, man. Do you know how much I love that Aventador? But yeah, you just gonna take it? No,
how dare you? I'm gonna hunt you down.
Right. Yeah. No, that'll be dope though. Fuzzy might know. Fuzzy, do you know anything about that? I was surprised. Actually, I was going to suggest maybe we can invite Fuzzy for this because I know Fuzzy is a racing fanatic and he knows all this good stuff about Forza. But yeah, man, like pink slip race would be cool. Stuff like that would be dope to have in it. But let's see what else did they say. They said rear aftermarket cars. I wonder what rear aftermarket cars that would be. I didn't see anything by the way about like garage finds. I'm sure it'll be there because it's a staple.
I mean, that's a staple. They gotta be in the game. They have to be.
You would figure so. I would be interested in seeing how they're going to handle that. I do like the idea of which I thought was very Project Gotham race-ish, which is the having your home base that you get to customize and stuff. That is very Project Gotham racing to me.
Yes.
If you all remember that. And you had your home base and you had the arcade machine there where you can go to play what was it? What was the name of that game you could play in there? The arcade game.
Oh my God, yes. What was the game?
What was that? Geometry Wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Holy freaking cow.
Geometry Wars. So like stuff like that. I that gave me an instant thought of Project Gotham Racing. Even the part where we saw when we were watching the trailer for Forza Horizon 6 and they were going through the city, I was like, oh, that looks so Project Gotham Race-ish to me. It just really called back to that. It really did. And so I would love for them to expand and when it comes to that. And going back into the city part of that, thinking about that, I would really hope that since they have all the landscapes and such that they're adding, they allow us. Well, I hope they have enough of the city to explore. I'll say that. I don't know how much of it is confined or whatever. So I don't know, but that would be cool too. What else did it say here? It says car proximity radar. That's cool. Updated car engine. Now that I'm looking for. I did see I know some of the people they show like, oh, look at the car going through the tunnel. And it was like, ooh, you hear how it sounds. And I saw some nerds in there like, that's not how a V8 sounds. That would be a cable. I saw the car nerds in there jump into the comments. That is more akin to a Honda Civic HR. And I'm like, all right. Shut up. Enough. Does it sound good? How about that? Is that good enough? Sheesh.
I think it sounded just fine personally.
That's
we
just
can't
never enjoy anything. I'm like, man, that sounds good. But they going through this little tunnel right here. And it's like, that's not accurate. I'm like, okay, shut up. I don't want to hear what you have to say.
Is that how they actually sound?
I'm imagining that's how they sound. They have to push their glasses up with their one finger, like the Japanese protagonist. We're in Japan, so they have to push their glasses up with their one middle finger. That's not right.
Oh my goodness.
A V8 shouldn't quite sound like that. A Hemi would be akin, like, no. Just stop.
It'll sound like 5 cans rather than 2.
Right. It should make a certain noise when it does this. And when you hit the next gear, it's apparently supposed to go like, and that it's not doing that. And I just don't think they quite captured okay, all right, shut up, you. So I don't know. I think from what I've heard, it sounds fantastic personally. And I've played plenty of these. And much like you mentioned, by the way, Boom, with your Need for Speed, I did love Underground too. That was an excellent game.
Underground is still one of my favorites. I mean,
yes, sir.
There was rumors for them remaking the original, and I don't know whatever happened to that. EA, but yeah, that was one of my favorites.
I loved it too. You know what I would love to, thinking of Need for Speed, one thing I would love for them to add. I don't know. I mean, they could. You all remember they had, like, in Project Gotham, they had the I think they did have this in Forza 2. I think it was a different name, but they had, what was it, cat and mouse. And for instance, they could have it here if you, like, we play as a police force and we have to catch the driver.
Yeah, dude. That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be a pretty cool little addition they can add to that. I think they might have something like that already in the modes. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, though, I'm looking forward to it, man. I want to see more. I guess I can speculate for days, but I'm not the best person for that. This is more Fuzzy's avenue here, but I want to see more. I want to see what more they can show us before I can give more thoughts and things. I need to see what this Horizon Rush is about. But yeah, looking forward.
Yeah, I'm very interested, like you, to see what new things they're going to add to it. I know I saw some detractors out there, trying to say, it really can't get much better than it already did in 5. I think the game looks incredible. And I have a TV that's going to show it off real nice.
Oh man,
I know you have a rig. You're probably going to play it on PC. I'm going to be playing it on console. So
I'm going to play it on PC, but on this nice OLED, so it's going to look fantastic. Yes,
I'm sure it is. There's no doubt about it. Again, this is why you got to go out and buy a nice TV for a game just like this, because Forza Horizon 6 is going to be a looker. There's no doubt about it. But listen, gentlemen, we got another topic to get into before we get out, and it's hardware, folks. We've been talking about hardware quite a bit on this channel. You've heard me mention Jez Corden. He's done quite a few reports, which I have one of them in front of me. You've heard Colt Eastwood do numerous videos regarding hardware, both in Microsoft's own next Xbox, which should be cool, thanks to Umbra, Xbox Fusion. I know some people don't like it. I think it's fantastic. And they're OEM devices, and I say with an S because there's going to be multiple OEM devices. I have a breakdown here from Idle Sloth. Now, of course, I have added both the YouTube video and the report from Jez Corden of Windows Central to the show notes. So if you want to take a look or watch the actual YouTube video from Windows Central about this topic, you can go and do that. But I want to break down, and again, what Idle Sloth did here is incredible. It is really a detailed, multiple paragraphs here. So I don't, obviously for time's sake, I can't read them all, but I will also add this to the show notes if you want a shorter bullet point version of everything that was discussed. You might want to give it a read. But I'm excited for hardware, and I think, look, the truth of the matter is that the next Xbox, ladies and gentlemen, is going to do things never before done in home console machines. And I think that Xbox has been planning this for quite a long time. Now, depending on where you fall on the side of the track, whether you believe that this is something that has been in the works for 10 years, and I take you all the way back to when Quantum Break was announced for both PC and Xbox, and the very legendary back and forth that Phil Spencer himself had with Crap Gamer about, him not buying the game and Phil Spencer saying, why you weren't going to buy the game because it's available somewhere else. Again, could the ideology of a box to play everything in one location start there? Or did it start when they lost the generation in the PlayStation 4, Xbox One generation? I don't know. That's an opinion, and I'm sure a lot of us are going to have different ones. But what we do have in front of us is a future for hardware that's never been done before, right? And again, OEMs we've been talking about for quite a while. I want to talk about Xbox's Gen 10 machine, because this is going to be a powerful box. I believe, and again, I'm not going to get into too much detail. You've heard me say this before. I believe that the next Xbox is not only going to attract the 45 plus million Xbox Series owners today. I really do think it's going to be a box that attracts a PC audience. Now, is it going to attract the PC owners that have 5090s? Probably not. But like I told you guys, the number for we talked about it on Friday, where when I specifically said, I asked a question to the panel, what number do you think it is, the percentile of how many gamers that own rigs have high-end units? Well, it's less than 1%, because according to the notes that I had, was 99.3% of PC gamers today have low-end to mid-range hardware. So this next Xbox is going to attract a PC crowd. I know it seems improbable, but here's why they're going to be able to do that. It's going to be the first open source home console ever released. And based on some of the notes I have in front of me from Jez's absolutely stunning article, I think Xbox is not only going to sell a lot of these units, I think they're going to be the place where people want to play. Again, that's my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, but walk with me on here and I'll get you there. Well, according to this write-up on the Xbox Gen 10 details, Microsoft's next generation Xbox is the company's most ambitious and risky gaming platform, but it's built as a Windows 11 gaming PC with a TV-optimized console-like interface. It supports full backwards compatibility on all Xbox One and Series X and S, Xbox 360 and OG games, plus any Windows 11 PC title. Users can exit the Xbox interface, according to the report, to full Windows for tasks like streaming, coding, music production, and Steam Deck's Linux, like akin to Steam Deck's Linux mode. Core hardware features an AMD semi-custom SoC codenamed Magnus. Now, according to the report, 2027's launch is a best-case scenario for Microsoft's machine. That's not the OEMs that are rumored to be dropping this year. And of course, thanks to AMD's CEO, Lisa Su, she stated in their quarterly that development on Microsoft's next-generation Xbox featuring an AMD semi-custom SoC is progressing well to support a launch in 2027. Now, again, folks, there's a lot more to this. I want to read a few more, and I want to bring in the guys and get their thoughts on this. According to Jez Corden's report, Xbox and Windows teams are currently collaborating for a seamless console-like OS experience on top of Windows 11. And this is what's going to get people into the door to buy an Xbox, especially if they have low to mid-range hardware. And of course, affordability is where we're going to get into next. If you have to upgrade your cards. And Jamie, I'm going to go right to you in a second because you bring this up all the time. You specifically waited for prices to go down to upgrade your equipment, and what happened? It reversed, and now a $100 card is probably around $1,000 today. Well, thanks to what we already know, this unit, this Xbox machine, along with the OEMs, is going to support multiple storefronts: the Xbox Store, Steam, Epic Game Store, with ports to PlayStation, and with ports to PlayStation and Switch too. Now, here's where it gets interesting, though. We know that Epic Game Store wants to be a part of this. We know they're working with Steam to be day and date an app on this box. We know that you're going to be able to, go into your own Xbox and play any of your games. All of this is great. But why I think there's something that people don't really talk about, and that's PlayStation. PlayStation is not there today when it comes to day and date release on PC and on PS5. Now, that's not to say that they won't be there at some point, and they do have a game coming out in the Horizon game, which I think they needed to be on PC. I think that game is going to flop, to be honest with you, but that's another game that's PC and PlayStation 5 day and date. At some point, when they get around to making their own first-party games again, I don't know when that's going to be, in order to pay for the budgets that some of these games are going to cost to make, they're going to have to do dual releases. Not on Xbox, not on Switch 2. They'll be releasing day and date on PC. Now, this next Xbox will be able to play those games, so you won't technically need a PlayStation 6 that's going to come out 3 years after, if the rumored 2030 is true. So when Sony releases a game, you'll be able to play that game, not on your PlayStation 5, not on your PlayStation 6, but on your Xbox, because you'll be able to download and buy that PC version. The power this thing is going to have is going to be, what I believe, even more powerful than the Series X. And yes, if this thing is $1,000, Jamie, $1,200, it's certainly going to be a cheaper entry point than you going out and buying a $2,000 card. I want to get your thoughts on this Jez Corden article about Xbox's Gen 10 machine.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of lines up with everything we've heard in the past. The PC style features, the price alone. By the way, I want to get this out before I get into the rest of the stuff. The price situation has to calm down a bit, right?
Of course.
You allude to this, but I'll mention it for people that don't know. Like back in June last year, I was going to buy more RAM for my PC. It was £48, and I was like, you know what? And this is me being a cheapskate. I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait for a sale because it had been on sale before. Fast forward to November, £190. And now that RAM costs over £200. So, like, excuse me while I walk in front of a moving train. I think, I'm perfectly fine with the Series X hardware. Don't get me wrong. We're going to be talking about next gen Xbox. I'm looking forward to the next gen Xbox, but like, this generation's been weird, right? I completely understand why Sony apparently want to push off their next gen console to 2029. Why the Steam machine is not, it doesn't even have a release window basically outside of 2026. These consoles, and I've been saying this for months, and I'll say it again, and I will say it even after the consoles have came out. You cannot have £1,000 consoles. You just can't.
I don't know, man. I mean, I agree with you, but I think that's where they're going, because again, I think what they did in the past by taking losses up front and subsidizing with software sales, I don't think anybody's going to do that anymore, man.
The reason why I'm so against this is because we live in a time where people have less money than ever before. The pandemic was really rough on people. Hell, it's 2026 and people are still trying to get the crap together, right? $1,000 console. Like, hell, look at the video game landscape in the UK. Do you know effective, well, soon there won't be a physical, like any physical game stores in the UK, right? Outside of used game stores, there's none, right? So like the whole market's a mess right now. The RAM situation, or what I like to call the RAM apocalypse, has messed everything up. You have Nvidia that's not wanting to basically make any new graphics cards anytime soon, right? So like launching a console at $1,000 to me is bat crap crazy, right? People say nobody wants to buy an Xbox or like or anything like that. But like, if you launch a console at $1,000, it doesn't matter if it's a PlayStation, it doesn't matter if it's a Nintendo, Super Switch 3D or whatever they want to call it, right? $1,000 consoles aren't the way to go. It's a bad idea, and the reason why 500 has worked for consoles for a long time, right? The Xbox One, $500. Xbox One X, $500. Xbox Series X, $500. And now all of a sudden, we just meant to go, hey, it has PC features, $1,000. I'll hand me money over. I think that is crazy. We've heard Phil Spencer say in the past that launching consoles at $1,000 is it doesn't make any sense. Congratulations, he's right. Right, $1,000 consoles don't make any sense. To like the thing about consoles is that they are meant to be a more affordable entry point into gaming, right? And you can have a console with PC style features. Hell, remember, like, for the past 10 years, we've had quote unquote rumors about a Steam app coming to Xbox, right? Remember that? We've been talking about that for years. So, like, now we've been talking about next gen consoles, and I bet people didn't know this is the way I was going to go with this topic, but we've been talking about next generation Xbox for 2 years, right? It's 2026. We've been talking about next generation Xbox since 2024. For the first time ever, we've been talking about next gen Xboxes years before the next gen has even been announced, right? For the first time ever. One, because Microsoft feels the need to reassure everyone every 5 seconds that yes, they are in fact making a new console, right? Which I think's silly, right? They obviously were. And like the things people are talking about, and don't get me wrong, I don't want people to misread what I'm saying. And if I sound annoyed, it's because I'm still sick and I'm annoyed that I'm still sick. I think that, like, next gen Xboxes having access to other storefronts is really cool, right? Like, if you, like, let's take me for instance, right? I have 300 games on the Epic Store.
Wow.
300. Do you know how many I've played? One.
2.
Just one. And that is Homeworld Remastered. I love Homeworld. I love that stuff. It's a sci-fi RTS. And I accepted a long time ago that will never come to console because just the controls, it will be terrible. But guess what? When the next gen Xbox comes around, I'm going to be able to play Homeworld on a console. That is bloody gravy. I love the sound of that, right? So, like, I'm going to get something I've always wanted, Homeworld on a console. But, like, you have to realize that, like, and this goes back to the price situation, and I hope someone from Microsoft is listening. If you launch $1,000 console and your selling point is, hey, you have access to PC storefronts, that doesn't appeal to the 45 million Xbox gamers, right? 45 million Xbox gamers buy into a console for a console. They don't buy into it for a PC, right? The only thing we're talking about right now for next gen Xbox is that, yeah, it's going to be powerful, which obviously it's the next gen Xbox, and the multiple storefronts. But the multiple storefronts thing only applies to people that, one, already have PCs, two, already have PC libraries, or three, and this is the smallest one, console gamers that are willing to dabble in games on other platforms.
Yeah.
Right? Bear in mind, I'm not saying this is a bad idea. That's not where I'm going. So, like, Microsoft, even though they've been talking about for 2 years about what their next gen console is, just saying that it is coming and it will have other storefronts. For the first time ever, we are being told that the selling point of a next generation console is access to other stores. Right? Last generation, we were told that the metric for a good console, or the metric for the best console, was loading times. That still blows my mind, right? So, like, Microsoft, like, I really hope they show us or tell us something in next year or whatever. Like, what is like the big feature? Because remember, this generation, people are like, oh, we're going to get hyped up on ray tracing. Even myself, I was talking about ray tracing is going to be the greatest thing ever. And what's happened ever since? I prefer 60 frames over ray tracing. I think
Ray tracing, for me, at least in my opinion, kind of reminds me of what happened with 3D TVs. Like, it was such like a big deal. Oh my God, 3D TVs, and it was very rarely used. I'm with you. They can keep ray tracing and just give me the FPS.
Yeah, and remember all these games had ray tracing modes, and people would take screenshots, and everyone would be like, you know what, it's nice, but I'll take my 60. One of the biggest examples, and I love using this example because it's a beautiful game, is Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2 had a 4K mode, it had a 60 frames mode, and it had a ray tracing mode at launch, right? And the ray tracing mode was very pretty. Nobody bloody played it, right? Because Dying Light at 60 frames is just the way to go. So, like, you know, diminishing returns with ray tracing wasn't worth it. But guess what? Ever since, games are looking better. We have 60 frames in almost all games, and everyone's winning, right? My point is, like, look, I think next gen Xbox is going to be great, right? Be it 2027 or later, depending on the pricing situation. But like, and I'm going to be able to play Homeworld on an Xbox. But I don't want Microsoft to lean on the whole. And I know this is a big tangent. I don't want Microsoft to lean on, hey, this is our new next gen Xbox. By the way, it has access to other storefronts. Like, I think that
I don't think that's just going to be the only draw, dude. I mean, it's going to be a more powerful box. That is no doubt about it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I do think there's going to be more to it than the more storefronts thing. But like, we've been hearing about next gen Xboxes for years. Next gen tech's always exciting, you know. But considering the current landscape we're in, like, I think Microsoft has to be very careful, right? Because I've seen a million times in chat, not just today, but just in general, like everyone, even before the Rampocalypse, has just assumed $1,000, right? We can't have $1,000 consoles. We just can't. And that's why I've been an advocate for Microsoft putting off next gen for as long as possible. Like, look at the 360 generation. Can you remember when the 360 came out? I don't know how much it cost in the US, but like, in the UK, the 360 dropped £100 in price over a year, right? You know, you could get a 250 gigabyte Xbox 360 Slim for like £150, right? And now consoles go up in price, storage is going up in price.
Yeah,
I just don't want, like, the launch of a console is the most important part for obviously a console. Like, Microsoft has to be very careful because look, there's a chance no matter what they do, they're going to be a year or two before Sony.
Yes,
it looks like at least 2 years maybe before Sony, and they're going to have a significant power jump, right? And yeah, having access to those storefronts is going to be cool. Having access to those PlayStation games that are on PC, that's going to be bloody big. You're going to be able to play, you know, your Spider-Man, Horizon, whatever that new Horizon game's called. I can't remember what it's called. The monster.
Oh, the one, the Hunters something or other. Yes.
Yeah, Hunter's Gathering, right?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe that'll be big. Maybe that'll be huge, and you can play it on your Xbox, which will be bloody cool. But I look at all these rumors, I look at all these leaks, and I just think the $1,000 price point for any console, doesn't matter who makes it, I think is a terrible idea. Look, like Steam, like there's huge Steam fans and huge Valve fans that will buy anything Valve or made by Steam, right? The fact that this PC might cost $1,000 has made a lot of people in my feed who were always saying, you know, I'll buy anything, you know, Valve, are saying, no, I'm not buying this, right?
Yeah.
And I think that Steam machine looks bloody great. I'm a fan of the whole minimalist look. But like, as of right now, the Xbox Series S is doing great. It's going to be the cheapest machine on earth to play GTA on.
Yeah.
Right. Bear in mind, you go across a lot of different content creators and they hyping up GTA. as like a PlayStation exclusive for some reason. But like it's going to be the cheapest way to play GTA this year when everything's going up in price. The Xbox Series X is a bloody great console, right? Developers are still pushing like the hardware to its limits. And look, over the next couple of years, we're going to see even better looking games, right? Look how good GTA looks, right? Every time a GTA game's shown off, we look at that game and think there's no way that's running on the console. And then it comes out and it looks even better than the trailers, right?
Yeah.
The best thing about the 360 generation, games look vastly different from the beginning towards the end. I've been rambling for like 20 minutes.
No, that's okay. That's right. Listen, brother, you got to get your thoughts out there.
Look, I'm looking forward to Microsoft's next generation. Don't get me wrong. I just think for all of us, it would be better if Microsoft tiptoes the hell around the situation. And, the price situation is going to be the biggest thing. Obviously, the storefront thing is going to be nice. And look, you have a lot of PC gamers that also own consoles as well. They're going to get the most out of this. But that's just my long, overly dramatic take.
No, I mean, it's a good take nonetheless. Umbra, I want to bring you in because Umbra's opinion I'm very interested in because he's a PC guy. Umbra, what rig are you running currently? I'm just curious.
Well, for my main gaming PC, it's the 4080 Super.
Wow. So you got a 4080 Super. Let me ask you this. I just read off a tremendous list of things that the next Xbox is going to have. Will you be buying a new Xbox, whatever it's called? I hope they use your
idea.
Yeah, I like the Xbox Fusion personally because it's fusing PC gaming with console gaming. I love the idea, but why would you buy one of those consoles?
I would say ease of use. If, for instance, it's going to have it anyway. It's going to have the next gen feature. Next gen feature is going to have Steam integration. Epic. We've already seen articles about that too. That right there is just a plug and play. I don't have to worry about all these other things that necessarily on a PC I might have to do, or I got to do this. I got to do. It's just kind of a plug and play thing, so I can just have that hooked to the TV, for instance, if I wanted, and then just jump into something really quick. Also, too, for me, I am one of those people who are kind of a tech what's the word?
Enthusiast, if you will.
Enthusiast is a good word for it. Yeah, where even if it's not something necessarily that I'm like, man, I'm going to play this all the time. It's a factor of me actually having something in a long running series of things anyway. And so much like I would probably get a PS6, I definitely will likely get this. I see some people trying to outdo my name. Unity.
I saw B. Lou. No, it says Xbox Unity. Which Xbox Series Prime is JTB 1521. BT Maverick says call it the Xbox HC.
I noticed a lot of these sound like some Transformer names, right? And even the Magnus is like the Xbox Ultra Magnus. Yeah, the Xbox rollout.
Xbox Infinite is by Smokey.
Yeah, see.
Jesse James says just start over, call it Xbox. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Simplistically is it might be the best way to go at this point.
Yeah, no, I think it being a pretty powerful device. Interested in seeing if they're going to give us a new controller type. With
that controller is supposed to be released this year, dude. At least that's the rumor.
That's the rumor. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, giving us that, where you add more value to the controller. So I mean, like I said, Xbox controller is the best in the business. There's no question about it. But they can improve upon it that third parties do. Like you go to the, the 8-bit do or the or the what's the name of that company? The other one. I'm drawing a blank right now. It starts with a G. Like the G7 from what's the name of that thing? GameSir.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like some of those are really I see that music. You have time to take that back. But that like those right there, with the TMR thumbsticks and things like that, they can add things like that. They can add where you have the haptics that like the PlayStation controller have, the DualSense. I know some people can't stand it, like Danny. He finds it disgusting.
I like the dual sense. I just don't like the stick placement.
Yeah, the offset.
I'm not a fan
we
of
prefer
those.
offset, should I say? But yeah, and that's the thing. Like they can expand when it comes to that too. But for me, if I was to say like, man, okay, I have the PC, it's going to be a bit harder to appeal to me that. But because I am like you said, a tech enthusiast, I'm likely going to get it because it's going to be more of value worth having as far as actually having all those titles. Then of course they're doing this play anywhere thing, this initiative, so that solves a lot of the reasons why I would prefer to get it on Steam, for instance, right? Well, if I actually have the play anywhere thing going, it's akin to having Steam. So that right there would also be reason for me to play it and have it on that, and I can go to the PC if I want to really experiment and maybe modify the game or something like that. Well, actually, I won't have to do that, would I? Now that I think about it, you see what I mean? Like now I'll have to change my thought process because now I can mod on it much as I would on my PC. That's why I'm so happy for those who don't want to move into the PC landscape that will essentially have it anyway, and some features of that, because they're saying it's what a full Windows experience is just going to have that the shell of
ease of use through just the the console interface that you know basically.
Exactly. So I'm happy for this. I want to see how everything works out, but yeah, I'm excited for that reason. I want to see what the pricing is, and I mean, I'm going to get it anyway, more than likely. I just want them to give us a real capable machine, and everything they're showing us so far, as far as the specs and things like that, looks like it's going to be just that.
Yeah, I mean, look, we should get multiple reveals this year. Exactly when, I gave you my timeline. I want to get everyone out of here because we are encroaching on the 2-hour mark, and normally this is a 90-minute show, but quickly, I do think we're going to get a reveal in June. I think it's going to be the OEM devices that are coming out this year. That's just my take on it. I could be wrong. And I think that, there is going to be some sort of 25th anniversary event for the actual 25th anniversary, which would be Sunday, November 15th. Now, I don't know whether or not they actually have a Sunday show, because they normally do their shows on, like at least their big shows on a weekend. So it's possible. I think that would be the opportunity to show off what Magnus is going to look like. I don't know if we would get a price this early. We absolutely could. We could get a release year, or at least a month in a year. I think it's still going to be holiday of 27. And I do think that if they do show off an OEM piece of hardware, it would be, releasing in the fall the same way that the ROG, Xbox Ally, and Ally X released in October of 25. So
I am interested in seeing how they handle the OEM situation too, because we speculated on this before. I would wonder if they're going to have like different SKU settings, like
according to the report, he believes there's going to be multiple prices, and I think you're going to see power be at the forefront of these prices. There's probably going to be, there could be a $600 box, an $800 box, a $1,200 box, and based on your wallet size, you might want to go with. And again, this is where you're encroaching on the PCMR, right? Because the PC Master Race, as it's known, is their rigs, of every size and every ilk. I mean, again, I gave you the numbers, folks. 99.3%. That's almost 100% of PC gamers. 99.3% have low end to mid range hardware.
Are you telling me a lot of these PC guys were tricking us all this time?
Probably, yeah.
I got the HDDR 18 GDDR 18.6 with the water cooled.
Yeah, I think that there are very few. It's less than 1% that are rocking the 5090 cards. You know what I'm saying? Like there are very few Hargeets in the world who have like these monster size rigs. Less than 1%, according to the stats I was able to find. So what this next console and who these next consoles will appeal to will be not only Xbox gamers, but it will be PC gamers because of its open-endedness. And I think the fact that these are going to be powerful, hell, they may be more, these OEM devices or even the next Xbox might actually be more powerful than a large number of the games community and their own rigs. So if you can do everything that you can do on your rig, why wouldn't you buy an Xbox? See, I think that is what Xbox is actually banking on. I mean, that's, again, it's just my opinion, but it makes a hell of a lot of sense that if you are putting out this new device that is going to be open-ended and it's going to give you the ability to be a home console that you know and love, but give you the ability to play games from every other store, giving you an aggregated library of all of the games that you own in one place. If you are a PC gamer on old hardware, this would be an incredible opportunity to upgrade to an Xbox that is really a Windows 11 machine in the form of a home console. I think that is what they're aiming for, and I really think that is what is going to happen. I'm not saying that it's going to outsell the PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 6. What it is going to do, though, again, this is just my opinion, it's going to attract a PC-centric audience that might not have the $2,000 in their bank account to spend on upgrading their equipment when they can go out and buy $1,000 box that does everything and more than their current hardware. Again, it's just my take on it, but I think it's good. You're going to see a lot of the PC audience come over, and only time is going to tell, because this is new. This is a new area for Microsoft. This is a new area for gaming. We've never seen this done before. So again,
I do remember there was a lot of more like positivity for people who were seeing the Steam box, and I kind of was thinking like, why? Because once I saw the specs, it's like it's outdated already.
It's outdated. It's probably as powerful as a PlayStation 5 Pro.
Yeah, so it's like, well, next gen we're already going to surpass it. So like, to me, it's like, what good is that now where we're about to go? Where we're going, we won't need that, right? So I'm wondering, like, what would be the, so I feel like, yeah, I agree with you that the next gen for Xbox and PlayStation, to me, especially since it's going to essentially be a PC, I don't see the need of a Steam box. To me, I think it already defeats that. I would also point out too that it's really cool the thought that you could have. So we're going to have these OEMs, but keep in mind, like, we might have an Alienware that has a completely different design than an Asus designed Xbox, right? You might have a Asus Xbox that's more differently designed than a
Lenovo box or something.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. So I want to see how that works out. I don't think they're going to all have the same, like, oh, this is how this one looks, and all of them in uniform. I think they're going to all have their own design, so people can. I think that adds a nice little touch to it, where you can kind of get your own unique Xbox, so to speak. And I just wonder if there will be different SKUs for more powerful versions of that, since it's essentially a PC anyway. So I want to see how they're going to handle that. By the way, shout out to the chat for all these different Transformer names. I'm seeing
that they're crazy. I love Thundercracker from Rick L in the chat.
Right,
he's one
Star
of the
Stream and all these other ones.
Oh, and, my goodness. But listen, let's get everyone out here. First of all, I want to say a big thank you to nearly 300 people watching us live today. We super appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us. I will be cutting yesterday's shows and today's shows into smaller bite-sized clips and shorts, as well as full-on videos that, they'll run about 15, 20 minutes, maybe a pinch more, maybe a pinch less. So if you don't have the time to sit, through a 90-minute or a near 2-hour show, you can, find a particular topic you like and watch it. We're doing really well in regard to the numbers, and we've gotten a lot of really, really positive criticism. Not criticism, a lot of positive, thoughts and theories from the community about these smaller bite-sized videos. And so we certainly appreciate that. A big thank you to the super chats, channel member chats, and gifted subs that continue to come in. And let's get everyone out here. And we'll start first, of course, with Jamie Moran. Jamie, are you doing a show tonight? And if you are, it will show up at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, called the All Things Xbox Podcast, where you and Logan Meyer break down the latest and greatest of the Xbox news. Tell everyone where they can subscribe to your YouTube channel, but more importantly, tune in to tonight's show.
Yeah, so All Things Xbox podcast returns at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight. It's going to be a fun one. We missed last week's episode for a bunch of different reasons, but we're going to be covering everything from Final Fantasy to the Xbox madness, a bunch of Ubisoft stuff that happened, which is, I'm sure I'll get upset about Splinter Cell in some way. But yeah, it's going to be a fun show. All Things Xbox podcast on the Elusive Gamer YouTube channel at 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm an Xbox focus centric YouTube channel. No fanboy stuff, no hate. It's always fun over there, and the support's greatly appreciated. I also do Twitter, which is Jamie Man UK, where it's exclusively gaming and jokes.
Nice, brother. And if you're number, let's sell the brand of the fix. Thursday evenings, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You, Danny McGee, who hates Nintendo, and who's
he has a hate-love relationship with Nintendo.
I think he hates it. He think he hates them. He says that anyone that plays Nintendo is playing with poo and rocks. So
yeah, he did.
I don't know.
Yeah, he did say that. Yeah, him and the Crusaders.
Crusader, yes.
That we will be going live for sure this week, even if I have to like grab some guests, because our scheduling, man, we've just people like just life as
just like that, brother.
Shout out to Jeff, Goldblum, life.
Finds a way.
Finds a way, right? Finds a way to mess us up. And so we haven't had a chance to be like locked in lately, but hey, listen, shout out to you, brother. He says he's gonna name his Xbox the Xbox Umbra. Hey, listen, I feel honored.
Hopefully he gets paid for that.
Yeah. Listen. But yeah, like we're definitely gonna come back this week for sure. Obviously the PlayStation State of Play will happen this week as well.
Yeah.
So we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about. We didn't cover anything for last week, so we can kind of do that as well with it. Probably try to keep. I'm probably gonna be like a 3-hour show, probably, but yeah, it's gonna be a good show. I think we'll have a good time. So yeah, come and check us out, everybody. If you haven't subscribed and things like that, I believe I was linked.
Yeah, everyone's links are in the show notes. So you gotta do is just click on it and copy and paste it, and you can find out where they are on Twitter, and of course subscribe to their YouTube channel. All their links are there, very easily, to find.
There you go. Well, if you haven't followed me on Twitter, F you. No, I'm joking. You know where to find me. Anyway, y'all have a good day.
Yeah, well, thanks so much, gentlemen, for joining us here today. Thank you, chat, for hanging out with us. We super appreciate it. And, of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you, and that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids, and he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you you're going to have an awesome day. So take care of everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.